In the unforgiving world of professional boxing, where swagger and confidence are sometimes as essential as a stiff jab or a rock-solid chin, there exist moments when bravado can cloud judgment. Fighters often lean on showmanship as a psychological weapon, hoping to rattle their opponents before a single punch is thrown. Some do it out of genuine self-belief, others as a mask to hide their fear. But when it comes to facing Naoya Inoue, the man known worldwide as the Monster, such antics are not just ill-advised, they are invitations to destruction. From the moment Inoue laced up his gloves professionally, the boxing world knew there was something different about him. His rise through the ranks wasn't built merely on brute strength or highlight reel knockouts, although those would come in abundance. No, his dominance stems from something far more unsettling: discipline, patience, and an unnerving emotional coldness that turns the art of boxing into an exercise in controlled violence. Yet even a fighter like Inoue isn't immune to opponents attempting to unnerve him. Throughout his career, a recurring theme has emerged: fighters who allow their egos to steer them into dangerous waters, mocking, taunting, and showboating as though the sport is a stage for their antics rather than a battleground. Time, and again Inoue has shown them all the same lesson: this is not entertainment, it's war. And in his world, there's only room for one survivor. In December 2015, Inoue returned to the ring after a year-long hiatus, recovering from an injury sustained in his breakout performance against veteran champion Omar Narvaez. That night, Inoue had showcased his sheer savagery by dropping Narvaez multiple times and finishing him, despite having dislocated his right hand mid-fight. It was a performance that cemented his status as a future star. But this comeback wasn't designed to be a soft landing. Across from Inoue stood Warlito Parenas, a fellow Japanese fighter with power in his fists and a chip on his shoulder. This wasn't just another routine title defense for Inoue. It was a statement to the division, and to the sport, that his time away had only sharpened his hunger. From the opening bell, the tone was set. Inoue wasn't interested in easing his way back into the contest or feeling out his opponent. His movements were sharp, his eyes unblinking, and his punches precise. He pressed forward with the calm detachment of a predator stalking wounded prey. Parenas, to his credit, tried to stand his ground. In an almost desperate attempt to show he wasn't intimidated, he started taunting Inoue in between exchanges, flashing a smirk, shaking his head, and gesturing as if unfazed by the blows landing on his body. But in the presence of Inoue, mockery is not an act of defiance. It is the pulling of a trigger. Inoue's response came not with emotion but with the quiet confidence of a man who knows exactly how this story ends. Midway through the bout, Inoue let loose one of his signature weapons, a left hook so sharp and sudden it sliced through Parenas' defense and left the taunter reeling. Gone was the smirk, replaced by an expression of dread. Backed against the ropes, Parenas was reduced to little more than a stationary target as Inoue's right hands crashed into his high guard and then seeped through it. What unfolded in the next moments wasn't a chaotic brawl but a systematic dismantling. Inoue paused, surveying the damage like a surgeon measuring his next incision. Then came the final wave. More calculated, punishing combinations followed until the referee had no choice but to step in and save Parenas from the inevitable. 2 rounds. That's all it took. After the fight, Parenas did what few fighters have the humility to do. He admitted defeat without excuse. His words, "I've never fought anyone like him," said more about Inoue than any pre-fight trash talk ever. Could not fast forward to May 2024, and Inoue found himself standing in the center of one of boxing's grandest stages, the Tokyo Dome. Now undisputed, with all the belts at super bantamweight, Inoue was preparing to make the first defense of his status against one of the division's most dangerous and polarizing figures. Mexican power puncher Luis Pantera Neri arrived in Tokyo not only with heavy hands, a staggering 78% knockout rate, but also with a stained reputation. A past tainted by PED scandals had earned him both infamy and mistrust in the boxing world, and Inoue, a man known for his respect for the craft, was not one to forgive or forget. The tension inside the Tokyo Dome was suffocating. The crowd of over 55,000 fell silent as the opening bell rang. What followed was a masterclass in the thin line between fearlessness and recklessness. Neri, true to his nature, came out swinging. Unintimidated by the myth of Inoue, the Mexican brawler launched forward, winging wild hooks at every opportunity. For the first time in his professional career, Inoue found himself on the wrong end of one of those hooks. A looping left hand detonated clean on Inoue's chin, sending the monster to the canvas. For a few seconds, the boxing world held its collective breath. The crowd was frozen as if time itself had stopped. But as Inoue rose to his feet, the look in his eyes had changed. The knockdown hadn't weakened him. It had awakened something more terrifying. Neri, misreading the situation, pressed. His advantage convinced he had Inoue hurt. But what the Mexican didn't realize was that his window had already closed. Inoue, now fully alert and more dangerous than ever, began evading Neri's attacks with head movements so fluid it seemed choreographed. He slipped, ducked, and pivoted, with lethal elegance, all while resetting his traps. With less than a minute remaining in the same round, Inoue found his moment. A short explosive left hook landed flush, and Neri crumpled to the canvas. It was a poetic reversal, a reminder that the monster does not stay down for long, and when he rises, he comes back with vengeance. From that point on, the fight was one-sided. Neri's early confidence eroded with every passing round as Inoue began dissecting him, finding openings with almost robotic precision. In the fifth round, Neri found himself trapped in the corner, his defenses eroding under Inoue's unrelenting assault. A sequence of short hooks to the body and head sent him to the canvas again. Staggering to his feet, Neri survived the round, but the writing was on the wall. In the sixth, Inoue closed the chapter. A right hand, short, crisp, and devastating, folded Neri against the ropes. The referee stepped in without hesitation. The fight was over. Later, during the post-fight interview, Inoue pulled no punches when asked about his motivation. "You don't cheat this sport," he said simply. "This is pure. You respect it. Or you pay." January 24, 2025 brought another name to Inoue's list of opponents, though under unusual circumstances. Originally set to face Australian contender Sam Goodman, Inoue's plans were altered when Goodman pulled out due to injury. The late replacement was Korean prospect Ya-Jun Kim, a fighter many viewed as courageous, but doomed. If Kim felt fear, he masked it well. During the build-up to the fight, the Korean fighter embraced his underdog status, adopting a cocky, almost playful attitude. He taunted Inoue during interviews, framing himself as the man who could shock the world and break through the myth. But the problem with mocking the monster is that you must be prepared to back it up. As Inoue made his ring walk that night, the usual pomp of a champion was absent. His focus was sharper, his demeanor colder. It was as if Kim's pre-fight antics had erased any intention of a prolonged fight from Inoue's mind. From the first exchange, the gap in class was glaring. A right hand from Inoue in the opening seconds nearly lifted Kim off his feet. The Korean tried to laugh it off, wearing the same smirk that had accompanied his pre-fight bravado, but his body language betrayed him. His eyes, wide with shock, told a different story. Reality was beginning to set in. What followed was less a boxing match and more a surgical dissection. Inoue's offense wasn't wild or reckless. It was calculated and merciless. He shifted between attacking Kim's body and head with ease, breaking down both his physical and mental defenses. Kim's taunts had officially turned into survival mode. By the third round, the punishment had reached its peak. Inoue launched a perfectly timed combination that snapped Kim's head back and left him staggering. The referee hovered nearby, watching for a reason to step in. Inoue, as always, didn't waste energy on meaningless shots. He paused, measured his distance, and unleashed one final barrage. The referee waved off the contest, ending Kim's night and his short-lived dream of shocking the world. As always, Inoue's celebration was subdued. No chest beating, No grand gestures, just a quiet nod, a respectful bow to his corner, and the unspoken reminder to the world. Don't mock the monster. Inoue's fighting style is often described as aggressive, but beneath the knockouts and highlight reels lies a cerebral assassin. His power is undeniable, but what truly separates him from the rest is his adaptability. He absorbs information as well as he absorbs punches, recalibrating his approach in real time and stripping away his opponent's strengths one by one. When faced with arrogance, Inoue doesn't retaliate with emotion. He counters with focus. He turns taunts into teaching moments, delivering lessons in humility that leave his opponents beaten both physically and psychologically. For every opponent who has tried to mock him, there's a common ending: crushed confidence, shattered game plans, and a career-defining loss. The monster leaves them not just defeated but exposed. As Inoue continues his reign of terror across multiple weight classes, the question boxing fans and analysts now ask isn't whether he can win, it's whether anyone can survive. He doesn't merely collect belts. He erases the hope from the eyes of men who believed, at least for a moment, they had a chance. Some fighters spend careers chasing greatness. Inoue has forced it to chase him. So the question for every brave contender eyeing the monster is simple. Are you prepared to risk your ego, your pride, and your health, all for the chance to stand in the same ring? Because history has shown that for those who dare to mock the monster, the outcome is already written, and so far none have survived.